What up guys, SuperMetal983 here bringing you me top 25 albums of 2016 video. Now I'm going to start this off straight away with just saying that this was one of the best years for metal that we've had in the past couple of years. I honestly think this was a great year. We've had so many great releases from so many great bands, some great debuts and whatnot. I mean, it's been so hard to narrow down a top 25 albums list. That's one of the reasons why I've made it a top 25, because I felt like a top 20 list wouldn't cut it, because there's still a few albums I still want to mention and talk about, and I decided to up it with 3 honourable mentions. So hope yous are here for the journey and hope yous check out some new bands. That's always good, I mean, to check out new bands, you know. Anyway, let's get on with it with the honourable mentions. We've got 3 for you here, as I said. So yeah, this is the first one. We have Black Crown Initiate with Selves We Cannot Forgive. Black Crown Initiate's second album, and they have pulled out all the stocks on this album and gone more progressive and for the best, in my opinion, because this album is absolutely fantastic. I think, personally, it's a big step up from The Wreckage of Stars. The Wreckage of Stars was a fantastic album, don't get me wrong, but Selves We Cannot Forgive is even better and even sweeter, in my opinion. I think it's got a lot more going for it. It's not so much a progressive death metal record, it's more a progressive extreme metal record, in my opinion. It doesn't really have a lot more death metal-esques to it, but it still has this great atmosphere and great riffs on there, and definitely something you need to bestow your ears upon. So check it out if you haven't already. And the second one we're going to be talking about is King 810 with Le Petit Mont, or A Conversation with God. Yeah, this album. Yeah, King have returned once again with a really solid album. Now, I for one love King. I loved their last album, Memoirs of a Murderer. That was an incredible record, I have to say. So catchy, has this great hardcore mixed with new metal vibe and some like kind of rap influence vocals over the top, which sell it for me. It's really catchy and just something likeable about it, you know. But I love the seriousness of it and the kind of like live my reality kind of thing. It kind of carries on with this album. It's kind of like that sort of stuff. I live in a murder town. This is what I'm seeing. This is what I'm feeling kind of vibes. And I feel that there's a lot more emotion in this album, but it starts off with more heaviness and in-your-face kind, but then starts to get more meaningful and emotion behind it the more the album progresses. So I really enjoyed this album, and I think it's excellent, and I just cannot wait for the future of King, and hopefully one day I'll see them again, because I saw them with Korn and Slipknot, obviously. Anyway, and the third and final honourable mention we're going to be talking about is the new Fortress album with Themes pour la Rebellion. I think that's how it's pronounced. I'm not very good at French, but oh well. Anyway, but this is an absolutely fantastic black metal album. This album I only checked it out about 3 weeks ago, something like that. I left it very late to check it out, but I don't know why, I was just in the mood to check it out, so I did. And I wish I checked it out a lot sooner, because this would have been high in my top albums list, because this is absolutely fantastic stuff. Fortress, like that older stuff, it's alright. I quite like it, but this is absolutely fantastic and definitely a big surprise for me, and yeah, it's incredible. Check it out if you haven't already. Fortress with Themes pour la Rebellion. I think that's how it's pronounced anyway. But anyway, now we'll get on to the top 25 list. Now remember, this is my list, not yours, so you're obviously going to have a different opinion to mine. That's life. Anyway, so hopefully you check out some new albums and maybe find some new artists that you find a love for, so we'll see what happens. So here we go. Coming in at number 25, we have Vulvodynia with Psycho-Sadistic Design. An album I was looking forward to in 2016, and it did not disappoint. This album is incredibly heavy. This is slam, brutal death metal done proper and just downright dirty and gritty and a lot of deathcore influence, but it's not like obnoxious deathcore. You can just tell it's just deathcore influenced, but this is absolutely fantastic stuff. From the guest appearances to the musicianship to the gargly vocals, are just, oh, it's incredible stuff. You need to check out this album if you're into slam. It's incredible. Check it out if you haven't already. Voldvodnir with Psycho Sadistic Design. Coming in at number 24, we have Exist Immortal with Breathe. Exist Immortal, second album, and I have to say this album is absolutely amazing. I honestly think this is better than Darkness of an Age. Darkness of an Age was a great album, don't get me wrong, but this, Breathe, is another game changer. This is an incredible album to bestow your ears upon. If you're into Periphery, or, who did I say again? Oh, man, what are they called? Oh, After the Burial. If you're into that sort of stuff, you need to check out this album if you haven't already. It is absolutely fantastic, very majestic, and a lot more, in my opinion, it's a lot more beautiful than Darkness of an Age. So check this out if you haven't already. Alright, coming in at number 23, we have, there we go there, Stilla with Skugflock, I think that's how it's pronounced. Excellent black metal album. This is a very unique sounding album. If you're in, I honestly think this crosses a lot of boundaries of, excuse me, atmospheric black metal, melodic black metal, straightforward black metal, but it has this real beautiful black metal edge to it that I just fell in love with. I just think this is an excellent album, and definitely if you're into black metal that's majestic and just unique sounding, you need to check out Stilla's new album. It is incredible. Released on the Nordvis. Incredible stuff. Check it out if you haven't already. Love it. Alright, coming in at number 22, we have Hera with Requiem Aeternum. Obviously a bit difficult to see that album cover, but you get the picture. Anyway, Hera, their debut EP, it was alright. Wasn't anything special to me. But their new album, this album, is honestly miles fucking better than that. And I have to say, this blew me out of the water the first time I heard it. I've had it on repeat so much. It's really heavy, two-man down-tempo deathcore from Italy, bringing the brutality and just the pummeling, just gritty down-tempo deathcore. Wow, absolutely amazing. I was well and truly blown away by this album, and if you haven't checked it out, you need to do so. It is incredible, trust me. Anyway, coming in at number 21, we have Anal Nathrak with The Whole of the Law. One of the albums I was looking forward to in 2016. After hearing the first single they released, Depravity Favours the Bold, I was just like, wow, I just need to hear this album. Like, they released it and then it was like months away before the album was due to be released, and I was like, why do you do this to me? You can't do this to me. And when the album got unleashed, I finally got around to listen to it, and I was just like, oh, this is just disturbing, just aggressive, angry, violent assault on your senses. I mean, that's what Anal Nathrak does best. I mean, their last album was absolutely incredible. For them to follow up with this album is just mind-blowing. This is easily just an assault on your senses. It has elements of it's progressive, it's got black metal, it's got grindcore, death metal, it's even got a bit of groove in there. It's just ridiculous to hear, and with those weird cleans thrown in there, it's insane. It's absolutely insane. Easily the most insane album of 2016, period. Coming in at number 20, the Kings of Deathcore are back. Despised Icon with Beast at number 20. What can I say? Despised Icon returning finally. Obviously, the Years of Modern Man and Day of Mourning, The Healing Process, and their debut, which I can't remember the title of off the top of my head. All classic albums in deathcore. But Beast is a new ballgame altogether. I have to say that Beast is a absolute destructive, non-stop assault on your senses. It's like, the perfect way I can describe this album is a perfect blend of 50% deathcore, 50% death metal, just coming straight at you. That's what Beast is. And if you love your death metal, you will hear death metal on here. If you love deathcore, you will hear deathcore on here. You will not hear, like, oh, this is pure deathcore, this album, or this is pure death metal, this album. It is not. It's 50-50, and that's what I love about this. And it's great to see that they've come back with such a vengeance, and I'm so happy they're back. I just need to see them live. One day, that will happen, and I'll just be in awe. I know that for sure. Anyway, moving on. Coming in at number 19, my favourite supergroup release of 2016 has to be Sincerem with Echoes of the Tortured. Now, Sincerem, I was a little bit sceptical about checking out their new album because Joey Jordison, I doubted his abilities a little bit. I didn't think he would be able to pull off a black and death metal kind of, ability. But with that, along with other musicians who are creating this monster of an album, Joey Jordison, along with the others, have created a absolute manic black and death metal album. It's not your stereotypical black and death metal kind of behemoth album. What it is just this heavy, gritty, punchy, riffing black and death metal album. It's just something, a good black and death metal album you can headbang along to and have a good time listening to. I mean, it flows so nicely, that especially this version with the bonus tracks, it's absolutely amazing to hear. And you've got other members from the likes, like you've got Attila from Mayhem, Fred from Dragon Force. You've got Sean. I don't know why I said that. Sean from what's the band? Darth. Also in there, and a few other big names in there, creating this absolute just great black and death metal album. I absolutely love this album, so check it out if you haven't given it a chance. You won't doubt it. Well, you know what I mean. Anyway, coming in at number 18, we have probably the oddball release of my top albums list. I'm talking about Hex Vessel with When We Are Death. Now, Hex Vessel, obviously, if you know Hex Vessel, you'll think of me and go, that's not your type of band. Yeah, they're not. But I decided to give this album a shot because the artwork is beautiful, I have to say. So that attracted us to it. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to give it a shot. And I did. And what it is psychedelic kind of folk rock, you could say. And that is definitely not usually my kind of thing. But I felt a strong attachment and love for this album. I felt it had so much majesticness, so much catchiness, and just kind of chilled back kind of vibes. I mean, I was listening to this album and I just felt so relaxed listening to it. It was just a vibe that I'd never felt all year, and I was just like, yeah, this is amazing. I absolutely love this album. It's very different, and I like to be a little bit different, so what can I say? I'm happy to have this album in my top albums list, and I'm happy I gave this album a chance. It was so worth it. So if you're a bit open-minded, give it a chance. You might dig it, you might not. You take the chance. Anyway, coming in at number 17, we have Upon a Burning Body with Straight from the Barrio. Now, Upon a Burning Body, obviously, with their last album, it was a good album, but I felt like the publicity stunt kind of ruined the vibe a little bit for me, personally. But to see them come back with a new album and and not do anything along that lines, which I was so happy with, I'm not going to lie, and bring out a absolutely incredible piece of metalcore was just mind-blowing. I was a bit late to the party with this album, as I said in the review. If you want to hear more about that review, check it out on my channel. But anyway, but this album, honestly, I felt such a strong attachment to it. It has so much catchiness. It's got this kind of like groovy metalcore, obviously, vibe going on it, but it's got a really catchy sing-along kind of vibe in the sense of like Attila, for example, which may be a bit of a sin to mention it, but I don't care. But honestly, I really dig this album a lot, and I think you need to give it a chance if you haven't already. There's so many catchy songs on here. Yeah, check it out if you haven't already. Next up, we have, what number we want to do? 16. We have Hands Like Houses with Dissonance. Now, this was a big surprise to me, because this was a band I discovered live, because my girlfriend was a big fan of them, and she said she wanted to see them, and I said, I'll go with you if you want. Like, I've heard of the name, but yeah, I'll go with you. And she was like, oh, sweet. So we went to the gig, and like, the first bands were alright. Well, quite enjoyed them. But then Hands Like Houses came on, and she said before the gig, she was like, you might not like these, because I don't think they're your kind of style, but when I was watching them, I was really enjoying their stage presence, and the songs were actually really catchy, and I was really enjoying them, and found myself really enjoying the gigs. So I was like, yeah, I'll have to give these a chance when I get home and listen to them on record. And when I got home and gave it a chance, I fell in love with this album, and I felt so much in love with it that I forgot about it. Like, when I was making my list, I forgot I missed it out. But anyway, this album is absolutely fantastic. Post-hardcore mixed with alternative rock, that kind of style. And normally, my girlfriend was right, I'm not really massively into that style, but I found a strong attachment to this album, and I had it on repeat a lot, and me and my girlfriend listened to it a lot in general, and I honestly think this album is very catchy, and I think it's going to be really underrated of the 2016 end of year list, because I think this album is great. It's got a lot of stuff going for it, and it's just got a lot of likability, and I mean, that's all you can ask for, you know. So give this album a chance if you haven't already. Obviously, remember, all the albums that I mention, they'll obviously be, like, saying Hands Like Houses 60, and then there'll be a YouTube link where you can check out a track that I recommend. So give it a chance, you might not regret. So yeah, coming in at number 15, we have Necronautical with The Endurance at Night. Easily one of the biggest surprise of 2016. This album, I left it a little bit late to check out, but when I did check it out, it was one day before work. I thought, you know what, I'm going to check out that new Necronautical, see if it's any good while I get ready for work, because it's quite a short album. So I stuck it on as I was getting ready, and obviously the ambient sort of stuff starts, and then it kicks in with this symphonic death metal, well, symphonic black and death metal kind of tone, and you're just like, I was getting ready, and I just turned around, and I was like, that sounds about right, I like that, and I was headbanging along with it, getting ready and stuff, and really enjoying it, getting right into it, and then it come time to get into work. Well, it finished, and I was like, I've got enough time to listen to it on the way down to work, so stuck my earphones in and listened to it on the way down to work again, and it's been on repeat since then. This album is absolutely fantastic. Symphonic black and death metal is what I would describe it as, and I honestly think this is an incredible piece of music to listen to. If you haven't given it a chance already, give it a chance. It is excellent. Coming in at number 14, we have Memphis Mayfire with This Light I Hold. Now, Memphis Mayfire has been one of those bands that have grown on me a lot in 2016, mainly because my girlfriend's into them and we listen to them a lot, and I said I was alright on them, but they have grown into one of my favourite post-hardcore bands, and especially when they unleashed this album, I was well and truly blown away with it. I thought Matty's voice had improved so much. The music, the musicality and the musicianship had just gone to another level. The production was easily better than Unconditional. That's what I felt was Unconditional's flaw. This has got a lot more grit to it and just a lot more groovier riffs, in my opinion. There's loads of great riffs on this album, so give this a chance if you're into post-hardcore. You probably have if you're into post-hardcore, but regardless, check it out if you haven't already. Awesome stuff. Alright, I'm going to take a quick drink. Excuse me. Coming in at number, unlucky for some, 13, we have Black Fucking Cancer, Self-Titled. Easily my favourite black metal release of 2016. This album got so much high praise, and quite rightly so. This is aggressive, this is nasty, diabolical sounding black metal. It's honestly been on repeat so much. I absolutely love this album. I love the sheer creepiness of it, the darkness. You can actually feel how dark and sinister everything gets when listening to this album, and that's what I feel like a good black metal album should do, and Black Fucking Cancer definitely does it with their debut. Give this album a chance, it is absolutely fantastic, and what more can I say? Anyway, coming in at number 12, we have Adept with Sleepless. This was a big surprise of 2016. I heard some good things about this album, and I decided to give it a chance, like most albums that I do. But anyway, this album blew us out of the water the first time I heard it. Like, I've heard a couple of older Adept stuff, and it's alright. It's not amazing in my opinion. But this album, something about it just clicked instantly with it, and I was just like, I was literally in love listening to this album. I listened to it so much, and then I stopped for a little bit and came back, and the love was still there straight away, and I just felt, yeah, this is an excellent album, and it's a band now that I've shown my girlfriend and she's gotten into as well, because I was just like, yeah, babe, this is for you. You will love it as well. Excuse me. But yeah, if you, like, this is honestly my favourite melodic metalcore release of 2016. Call it that if you want, but that's what I'm going to call it. It's absolutely fantastic. I compare it to the likes of Killswitch Engage's Incarnate. Yes, that was a good album, but in my opinion it wasn't as good as Adept Sleepless, because this is absolutely fantastic. Give it a chance if you haven't already. I did, and I don't regret it at all. Coming in at number 11, kind of another oddball release, Skillet with Unleashed. Was it Unleashed? Yeah. Now this was kind of a big surprise for me, because I heard the first track that they released from this album called Feel Invincible. I heard it on a WWE event when I was watching it. It was the theme song, and I was like, quite catchy that. I quite like it. And I kept on listening to the single quite a bit, and then they finally unleashed the album, and I was like, oh, get in, let's give it a chance. And then after that moment, I felt myself listening to it more and more and more and more, because I feel like it's got a lot more catchiness, a lot of catchiness and a lot of likability to it, and just groove, and just very easy listening to it, and something that you can have on repeat and memorize a lot of it. I mean, I've found myself listening to it, singing the lyrics just left, right and centre. I just had it on repeat that much when I got it. I mean, I listened to it about 10 times in the first week. I mean, it's absolutely fantastic. I think it's fantastic. Give it a chance if you haven't already. Alright. Excuse me, itchy nose. Anyway, we're cracking the top 10 spot now, so let's get on with it. Coming in at number 10, we have Infidelamsterdam with the Elysian Grandeval Gallery Arc. Infidelamsterdam finally returning, armed with Dickie Allen on vocals, and trying to outdo themselves, like, obviously, in comparison to the Palpable Leprosy of Pollution. And did they beat it? Yeah, I'd say they have. I think this album is absolutely fantastic, and I think it's a great follow-up to the Palpable Leprosy of Pollution. I think it was the next step, And armed with Dickie Allen, one of the most insanely talented vocalists in extreme metal and stuff. He's got such a really good range behind him, a lot of like unique sounds that has like the Dickie Allen tone, if you know what I mean. Honestly, I think Infinite Annihilator has pretty much been reborn with this new album, and what more can I say? It's absolutely fantastic, and that like 14-minute long track that they've done right in the middle with all those guest vocals. What a song. Absolutely what a song. Even though technically it's like, what, 3 parts? No, 4 parts. You know what I mean. Anyway, coming in at number 9, we have what was my album of the year for the first period of 2016. I'm talking about Anthrax with For All Kings. I reviewed this earlier in the year, and my opinion still hasn't changed. This is an absolutely fantastic album. This is incredible for Anthrax. Like, I'm not massive on their old stuff. I've listened to a couple of tracks. It's alright. Thrash is never massively my thing. But worship music, I felt quite a good connection towards. I thought that was a really solid album and all. But I felt like whatever comes next is going to be even better. And I was right. For All Kings has stuck with me so much in 2016. Every time I go back to it, I keep on thinking to myself, this is just incredible music. This is, like, every time I think of Anthrax, I think of your stereotypical thrash. But this is not stereotypical thrash. This is thrash metal mixed with elements of groove metal. But it's just really heavy and just memorable, and just, there's a lot of parts that you just can sing back like a couple of minutes later because they're so catchy and just so memorable. And I think this album is memorable in itself. I mean, this album well and truly blew me away when I first heard it, and it still blows us away today. Give it a chance if you haven't already. I think Anthrax, their new era, is fucking mint. Me and a Macum coming out there, fucking mint. Excuse me. Right, anyway, what have we got? Coming in at number 8, we have the Amity Affliction with This Could Be Heartbreak. It seems Amity get better every album they put out. From Chasing Ghost to Let the Ocean Take Me. When I first got on them, that's why I'm saying Chasing Ghost. Loved that album. And then Let the Ocean Take Me, I thought, yeah, that's just trumped Chasing Ghost easily. This Could Be Heartbreak has just trumped Let the Ocean Take Me. It is now my favourite Amity Affliction album, and quite rightly so. There's so much catchiness. There's a lot of singable moments, you know, bits that you can sing back and just memorise everything. There's just so much going for this album. I just fell in love with it. I knew I was going to love it, and I feel like the performance that the Amity Affliction has put in to this album is just another level compared to their previous. I think just this, from the screams to the cleans to the musicianships to the drum work to the guitars, everything has been amped up another level, and I absolutely love it. It's got so much going for it, and you need to check it out if you like post-hardcore. It is excellent. Alright, excuse me. Coming in at number 7 was probably my most look forward to album in 2016. I need to say 17 there. I'm talking about Hacktivist with Outside the Box. Now, Hacktivist, obviously they have that gently progressive metalcore sound going for them already, but then for them to yuck rap vocals over the top of them was stroke of genius, if you ask me. It worked so well. When I first heard, I think it was Elevate, was the first single I heard from them, and then hearing the EP, like their previous EP before, well, was it before that? It might have been. Anyway, hearing their self-titled EP was just incredible, and then the singles that they released after that, I was just like, yeah, when they finally release this album, it's gonna be exquisite. And then when they finally released it, and realising that they'd re-recorded all the singles since the EP, I was so happy that they'd done that. And what is created, and obviously put more songs on there, it's created the one of the most memorable albums of 2016, and it has so much catchiness, so much groove, and there's just so much likability. I know I mentioned likability and catchiness, but that's what's drawn us a lot of 2016 releases, because they've had a lot of X factors to them that I've been known to say. This album definitely had that X factor, and it's just so enjoyable. It's such an enjoyable album, and I still listen to it and still love it. And what more can I say? Incredible stuff. Hacktivists, just don't take as long with a second album, please. I beg you, I need another album soon. Anyway, coming in at number 6, we have Let Live with If I'm the Devil. This is kind of a surprising one to most people, because they wouldn't expect me to like a band like Let Live. But honestly, this album, when it first came out, I fell in love with it. I love the catchiness of it. And this, another one, catchiness, ha ha ha. Another catchy album that's definitely something that I'm so glad that I gave the chance. Like, I think it's Jason Butler. I think that's his name. I could be wrong on that. He is an absolute insane frontman. When I saw him with Pierce the Veil, he's an absolute manic. He's insane, jumping everywhere, crawling out of the crowd, just going absolutely insane. And he's a great vocalist, an outstanding lyricist, and to have that with the great musicianship that Let Live has, with the musicians behind him, to craft this punky, hardcore, post-hardcore kind of band that he's got going, is what it creates is this great unit called Let Live. And If I'm the Devil is honestly their best work, and I've listened to some of their older albums, in fact all of them except for their debut. This is easily their best, and I have to say it, this is so good. This is, between me and my girlfriend, this is our album of the year, if you know what I mean. Like, an album that we both go, yeah, that's definitely ours. So yeah, check it out if you haven't already. It's so catchy, and you'll fall in love with it as I did. Now on to the top 5 albums of the year. So, coming in at number 5, we have Obscura with Acrosis. At first, I was a little bit skeptical about with them coming back with a new lineup, a new lead guitar player, a new drummer, and technically Linos is kind of a new member, a new bassist. I was like, yeah, what's this going to create? And what Obscura have done is pumped out my new favourite album of Obscura. Like, Cosmogenesis I still love just as much, but I think Acrosis has overtook it, because this is an incredible album. The musicianship is just on another level. It's like been raised so much. Like, it's been a while. I think it was 2011 when Omnivium came out. So we're talking 5 years since that album. It's been worth it. That wait has been worth it, because Acrosis is absolutely fantastic. There's so much tight musicianship going on here. Riffs that'll blow your mind, and just some musicianship that boggles the mind and just makes you go like, what? That's insane. It's just insanity. I mean, wow, progressive death metal perfection, if you ask me. What more can I say? Well done, Obscure with Acrosis. People describe this next one as progressive death metal. I disagree, but anyway. Coming in at number 4, we have Gojira with Magma. Now, this was on a lot of people's shit lists, and I disagree with that, because I think this album is definitely one of the highlights of this year, and I honestly am so glad Gojira are back. Like, 2012's Letter Font Sauvage was a heavy riff fest. That's all it was, a riff fest with just catchiness. And if I'd done a top albums of 2012, it would have been like number 3 probably. I listened to it so much of that yet. But anyway, Gojira's Magma is them taking L'État Sauvage and going a bit more progressive. Not as heavy, not as riff fest, but more just like progressive, catchy, and just mighty sounding. And in all honesty, I love it. I think this album is incredible. It's easily one of the best Gojira albums. I think, now that I think about it, probably my 3rd favourite, obviously behind From Mars to Sirius and L'État Sauvage, but don't doubt that this is seriously a good album. I absolutely love this album. Every time I listen to it, I get blown away by how powerful it is. It's incredible. Check it out if you haven't given it a chance. It's amazing. Right, now we're into the top 3. Excuse me. A lot of burps coming up today. Anyway, coming in at number 3, we have Osaya with Terra Infirma. This was another album I was looking forward to in 2017, I'm going to say it again, 2016. And when it was finally unleashed, this was probably one of the albums that blew me out of the water with how heavy it was. In fact, this was and is the heaviest album to come out in 2016. Yeah, people may say the likes of I Declare Wars was heavier, Meshuggahs was heavier. Have you listened to this album? This is brutal as fuck. This is assaulting. This is just like obnoxiously heavy. This is ridiculously heavy, and this, it's not that style of, like, you know, down tempo deathcore where it's like one note every 20 seconds. I get bored with that kind of stuff. This is just groovy. It's punchy. It's just a non-stop assault on your senses. If you're into deathcore and you want something that's just like, just as obnoxiously heavy as old Suicide Silence and old Whitechapel, maybe even Fit for an Autopsy, Ingested, anything along those lines, you need to give this album a chance. This is incredible stuff. Give it a chance if you haven't already. Excellent. Alright. Don't know what happened to my voice there. Alright. Coming in at number 2, we have Architects with All Our Gods Have Abandoned Us. Bing. Just going to put that back. Yeah. Now, Architects have pulled off, in my opinion, their best album to date. This album honestly blew me out of the water. Like, I loved Lost Forever, Lost Together. Daybreaker, not so much. But All Our Gods Have Abandoned Us just puts all their other albums in the shade. This is their best album of their career. It's got so much going for it, so much power, passion, emotion, just riffs, drum work, grooves. It's got the whole package. If it's basically, the best way I can describe it is Lost Forever, Lost Together, amplified by 1,000,000. This is incredible. I absolutely love this album. Nearly every song has been memorable to me. Like, I've memorized everything about it, and yeah, what can I say? Absolutely incredible. And I'd just like to say, Tom, the guitarist who sadly passed away, he has left behind a memorable album, and definitely something that I'm going to remember for the rest of my life. It's incredible. I will show my children and my children's children this album. I'm that proud of it. I think Architects should be that proud of that kind of album. It's mind-blowingly good. Check it out. Give it a chance. It's excellent. Now we get on to my number 1 album of the year. There's probably people watching this video and go, I know straight away what it is. Even the band if they end up watching this, which they probably will. I'll probably be looking at this video going, I know it's coming, I know it's coming, I bet you it's coming. And there's loads of me nearest and dearest that'll know that this is my album of the year. From the moment I heard it till today, I still get absolutely blown away. I get chills. And this album, out of everything that I listened to in 2016, this is the one that blew me away, give us a smile, made us want to punch people, just made us want to hit the gym, hit things and just headbang and just feel, just, you know, that kind of release. This was it. And yeah. So ladies and gentlemen, I am proud to present Super Metal 1993's top album of 2016 is Within Destruction with Void. Wow, absolutely, this album is 10 out of 10 plus more. This is like 100 out of 10. This is more than that probably. I cannot praise this album enough. The way this album makes me feel, this is the exact same feeling that I got when I first heard Infinite Annihilator's The Palpable Leprosy of Pollution. And in fact, what I feel towards this album is the exact way I felt when I first heard Surpassing the Boundaries of Human Suffering by Ingested, my all-time favourite album. This album absolutely blew me out the water when I first heard it. Technical deathcore, brutal, fast, obliterating. It's like a freight train coming at you, and it's not gonna stop. And it's never ending. It's like that train is going past you, ripping your face off, ripping you off, and it's never ending brutality. Honestly, this album blew me out of the water with what can just be described as imagine the fast-pacedness of Infinite Annihilator mixed with the crushing breakdowns of Osiah, with the vocals of Luke Griffin of Arcrania. This is what it sounds like to me anyway. It sounds like Arcrania mixed with Beneath the Massacre, just all those four bands just blended into one and then spat out Within Destruction with Void. This album is incredible. I absolutely love this album and I can't fault it. I honestly cannot fault it. I've showed so many people it. I've showed so many YouTubers it, and they've all been mightily impressed with this, and quite rightly so. So, if you haven't already, give Within Destruction's Void a chance. If you haven't already. I know it's a bit late for it to be in your top albums list, but give it a chance. You will not regret it. If you're into deathcore anyway, you will not regret this. Check it out. So yeah, that is my top albums of 2016 and 3 honourable mentions. So there's 25 bands. Hopefully there's one in there that you thought, I'll check them out. Remember, links in the description to a track that you can check out. And what more can I say? 2016's been amazing, and 2017, I can't tell you how excited I am for you. So, I'd just like to say before I end this video, hope you all had a nice Christmas as well. And Santa got you a load of heavy, brutal gifts. And I'd just like to say, Happy New Year to a lot of yous. And I'll see you in 2017. And remember, stay metal. And I'll see you later.